Welcome to Englewood After Dark, Episode 11. Why Don't You Come On Over? Englewood After Dark is a serialized horror audio drama and, for the best experience, we recommend starting with Episode 1. Content warnings for this episode include on-screen violence, murder talk, and conspiracy talk.
Welcome back, intrepid mystery lovers, to the exciting conclusion of our last cliffhangery episode. I'm your host, Finn Nightingale, the plucky new kid in town who just wants to teach the world to dance. And with me always is my co-host, Eve Pemberly, the crotchety old-timer who just doesn't understand this newfangled rock music she's hearing so much about.
Don't you think comparing me to the Reverend in Footloose is a little harsh? That's like one step below the mayor from Jaws.
I don't think you're directly under the mayor from Jaws. Definitely worse than the mayor from Ghostbusters, but I think you're also still better than the mayor from The Grinch.
I apologize for Finn. He's been a bit giddy lately. Definitely better than Mopey Finn, but...
I have a right to be giddy. Englewood After Dark, a small-time college podcast, tearing down a corrupt, centuries-old society, clearing our names, and bringing peace to the restless souls of their victims. Tell me you aren't excited!
Of course I'm excited, but you're really full of yourself right now.
You already made me cut the suspense-building episode recap. Just let me ride my high, Eve.
Sorry, but no. You still have to answer for our last episode.
You mean our record-breaking episode, drawing in a bigger audience than we've ever had? I shall do no such thing.
You can't just end an episode implying Carmen is about to shank a bitch.
I can, and it was glorious.
Yeah, well, as a result, you're going to apologize to our fans.
For what, exactly?
Yeah, our comments box was stuffed after the ending of our last episode. Students and townies alike asking if we're okay, and expressing major concern about our safety.
Aw.
No, not aw. Of course viewership spiked. People were worried that we'd been kidnapped, or worse, murdered.
Well, I'm sorry, but I respected our audience's intelligence enough to put two and two together. I mean, if we didn't make it out, who uploaded the episode? It was supposed to be oh boy, how are they going to get out of this one? Not, wait, did they just die? Oh my god!
It's the internet, Finn. We had to be told not to ingest Tide Pods. People are stupid on the internet.
And now we both owe our audience an apology.
Sorry for saying you'd eat Tide Pods, audience. Though, the last time I checked, I'm pretty sure you guys like the whole cynical Ice Queen shtick. There, your turn.
Audience, I'm sorry. I'm such a good storyteller that you legit thought we might have died. Ow! Jeez! Okay! I'm sorry I manipulated your feelings to get internet points. Just stop!
Much better. Now, seeing as we've left you all on a cliffhanger for a while now, let's run through your list of concerns and questions. No, we're not kidnapped. We're very sorry for the gap between this and our last episode, especially since Finn didn't edit it at all and cut it off before any resolution.
We were, unfortunately, a bit busy clearing things up with those who tried to shut us down. The police, the school, and the Brotherhood itself. After actually compiling some evidence against the Brotherhood, an official investigation has commenced.
To save you a bunch of legal talk and boring meetings, we'll make a long story short. Our podcast continues, we're no longer on the hook for hate speech, and the police are finally on the same page as us.
But, you may be asking yourself, just how did we pull this off? How did we go from trapped, cornered, and about to lose all of our evidence to coming out on top, driving the Brotherhood off this campus? Well, to answer that question, dear listeners, we have to take you back to the beginning.
One more apology we have to make. Withholding information from you. Sorry to keep certain aspects about our plan in the dark, but we found it necessary to get the plan running smoothly.
Retcon number 1. We went into this already having some evidence. Gasp!
Before any of us even thought about trying to spy on one of the meetings, We wanted to see if we could get something. Anything.
Whatever straws we had, we were grasping at them, and one of those straws was our dear friend Samantha Taylor.
Technically, Samantha West.
She noted at the time that when she walked in on them doing occult stuff, she didn't recognize them, but since we were scraping the bottom of the barrel with clues here, we thought it might be an idea to send her scanned copies of the yearbooks we found to see if she recognized anyone.
And from there, the pieces fell together. She gave us a few of the names of the people she remembered, and she ID'd some of the men she knew went in and out of there at least a few times.
We reached out and, well, most of them hung up or played dumb on us. It was like hitting another brick wall.
Until we remembered the other Samuel. We re-interviewed him and he suggested we try contacting Clive Harden.
For those listeners playing along at home with your own wackadoodle murder board, you may remember Clive Harden as one of the people interviewed in relation to Amber's death. He also used to hang out behind the back building and get, well, blazed.
We put in a call to this guy and he was ready to sail everyone he knew down the river. His conscience had been weighing on him for years and he was ready to come forward and do the right thing, thank God. Thanks to him, we had something more than just baseless accusations.
He was able to name some members and, more importantly, he agreed to testify. Turns out he knew who was responsible for Amber Reed's murder and he's now working with the police to close that cold case.
And while, for legal reasons, we can't disclose who it was, we can confirm that they were a Brotherhood member, as suspected.
As if there was ever any doubt.
After that, Burning Bridges proved himself, useful. He provided us with a dress code, but also did this weird spy move.
He gave us a little dossier in the most old-school spy way possible. A dead drop. With newspapers and park benches. It was so cool. The contents were spicy, to say the least. Meeting notes from past Brotherhood gatherings, dated, signed, and using initials that made everything a little clearer. Seriously, pro tip, don't use initial acronyms when you're trying to obscure someone's identity.
Do you have a leg to stand on there? He of the terrible code names?
Oh, please, you love my code names. Besides, the Brotherhood, like myself, are believers in the supernatural. Unlike myself, though, they've formed a cult of paranoia around it. They believe in every ghost story. Schmidt, the Spectre of Sycamore Hall, the Demon in the Stacks, every little ghost story that exists in this town.
Of which there were many.
They treat them as absolute fact, and they see themselves as protectors from these forces.
According to the dossier, the Brotherhood was formed to assist with keeping people ignorant. Because when people who believe in ghosts hear about ghosts, their first instinct is, for some reason, to go messing with them.
And in order to keep those from messing with forces they don't understand and can't control, the Brotherhood tries to keep knowledge of these spirits on a need-to-know basis and keep nosy people from snooping somewhere they shouldn't.
They believe in this so wholeheartedly that they're willing to do everything and anything to keep people from digging into it. As we saw with Amber Reed, CJ Briggs, and even recently with Professor Darcy Bennett.
And supposedly, we would have been next.
It's honestly despicable. I can't believe an entire group of people convinced themselves that murder was for the greater good. One or two people having a fucked up way of justifying their actions I get, but an entire society, for decades, shit's fucked.
But, at least now, we knew what we were up against. We had a testimony to back us up in our quest to uncover the truth. But we weren't satisfied with just those who were involved in the killing of Amber Reed. No. We needed to take down as many of them as we could. And so, we pulled together our crack team of expert sleuths and truth seekers.
Expert?
Picture this. It's 9:15 p.m., and we're all gathered around this very table in the recording room. As the brains of the operation, Eve is deep in thought, and she plans our next move. Seb and Carmen are sipping rum and coke from old pockmarked tumblers in a mournful, melancholic silence. As the face man, I'm doing my best to keep spirits high as we ponder the night away, all sitting around the table wondering what to do next. But then, I received a very unexpected phone call. You wouldn't believe who it was. A most unexpected call indeed from a caller
You
who...
can say her name this time.
Valerie. I assumed Valerie had just blocked my number, but lo and behold, she was the one calling me. I was curious. I was cautious.
You panicked, and asked me how to properly apologize to her.
Yes, I swiftly strategized by consulting knowledgeable third parties.
Mm-hmm. And?
And it wasn't about that. At all.
Well, don't keep them in suspense, Finn, like you did last week.
So Valerie is a listener, which means she's heard all of my apologies and hopefully has forgiven me by now. But it also means she's been following our quarrel with the Brotherhood of Oak and Ash.
And Valerie had some very interesting things to say, particularly about someone very close in her life, her boyfriend.
Right, so Valerie had been dating this guy for a few months now, but was starting to notice he had a few screws loose. He would cancel dates at the last minute. He was very close with his frat boy pals, but seemed to clam up whenever Valerie asked about them. He was super paranoid about people, even Valerie, being in his room without him there. He also had a bad habit of talking down to people who disagreed with him.
Which alone is reason enough to kick him to the curb. But that wasn't the big tip-off. You see, after a while of this weird behavior, Valerie suspected her boyfriend of cheating, so she asked a friend to tail him to make sure he wasn't sneaking around behind her back. Turns out it was a false alarm. Her boyfriend was regularly sneaking off, not to rendezvous with his affair, but to meet up with some of his frat brothers. In a basement room of the library. A no girls allowed sausage club meeting in a basement with his frat brothers? I mean, that seems perfectly hetero. But it seems like something a frat would do. At the time, Valerie was relieved that she wasn't being cheated on, so she probably didn't question it.
At least, she didn't question it until our damning expose aired. Then the pieces all started falling together. The Sons of Whitehead, also known as the Brotherhood of Oak and Ash.
Exactly. So we discreetly arranged a meeting with Valerie. As a gesture of good faith, we showed her the recordings of the meeting and, well, that was enough to convince her. It didn't take much to get her on board. Hell hath no fury and all that. Finn, seeing as you're in charge of editing and you were the one who made the executive decision to cut the last episode dramatically, why don't you explain to our listeners what happened that night?
It's not my fault you can't handle a cliffhanger.
Finn, I was there. I know what happened. It wasn't a cliffhanger for me.
So, the situation was this. We knew the Brotherhood of Oak and Ash was behind these things, but we didn't have solid evidence. We felt good about the recordings we had recovered, but we were on thin ice after the last, incident. We needed solid, indisputable evidence, and that meant we needed to force their hand. We needed them to do something reckless. Fortunately, Valerie had an idea.
So Valerie borrowed Clayton's keys, and later, when he realized they'd gone missing, Valerie told him that she saw us snooping around the area. She told him that we talked to her and told her we had video proof, not just from his room, but from a meeting we had infiltrated. Like a good girlfriend, Valerie told us to fuck off and came straight to him, concerned that someone had been snooping about in his things.
He really didn't like that.
Presumably, he talked to his fellow brothers and confirmed that yes, there were in fact a couple of extra faces at the last meeting.
The trap had been set. All we had to do now was wait.
Excuse me? No, there was a lot of prep that went on. We had to borrow video cameras with audio feeds this time and position them in hidden locations around the room. With Sep's help, we rigged 2 of them to livestream, and then that night, Samuel was ready outside the campus security office, waiting for things to go bad.
And when it did, bam! Live audience of campus security.
There was, however, one small hitch in the plan. We anticipated that they might cut the power, which is why we had the battery-operated cameras, but we made a mistake.
We had the cameras while the room was well lit.
And while the cameras were well hidden in a brightly lit room, in the dark, that softly blinking recording light was much more noticeable.
Finn, hand over your phone, and we can make this easy.
I don't have my phone. I left it at home.
What's that in your pocket? Are you recording this? What is that?
A knife!
Fuck! All right! Let's all just calm down here. Carmen, it clearly looks like you're ready for a fight. I getcha. But before you start waving that thing around, you better think carefully about your position.
Okay. I've thought about it, and I figure I'll just stab whoever has the balls to swing first. Someone's getting stabbed, boys. Who's it gonna be? What? No volunteers?
Hey, what's that light in the corner? The flickering.
Fuck! Another camera!
Live stream. Say hi to campus security.
World star, motherfucker.
Fuck!
Finn, no! Stay behind me.
I can help!
What? What are you going to do exactly?
Well, you lost your knife?
I always have a backup.
Fine.
That's the spirit. Let even Seb handle them. We'll stay here and protect the cameras. If something happens to them, this will all be for nothing.
Oh God, oh no.
What's wrong? Are you hurt?
My baby, they destroyed my soundboard!
For fuck's sakes, Finn.
Now, I will be the first to admit that there were some questionable decisions made there.
And some tragic departures. Rest in peace, soundboard, you will be missed. That whole night was something else.
Noted. But please, understand this. Carmen, despite appearances, would rather not stab anyone, and the first rule of fighting is never let yourself be outgunned. That's why I admitted to the live stream. To scare them away.
So you claim, after a dramatic chase sequence?
Not our best idea. Lucky they all split up as they ran for emergency exits. That allowed Seb and I to corner one.
Uh-huh. And by corner you mean?
Yep, I chased one up a stairwell. He got up just 2 flights of stairs ahead of me before I hear him scream and come crashing back down to the landing. And then there's Seb at the top of the stairway in all his angry, caffeinated glory, having just mule-kicked a man down a flight of stairs. I had no idea he could kick like that.
That man's legs are something else, huh?
World's straightest shower. Anyway, yes, Seb very swiftly secured one of the assholes. I think he had a concussion and a fractured hand, among other things. We didn't catch the others, but we had all we needed. Campus security swept in and arranged to pick up with the police.
Cargo, 1 goon, and his abduction goodie bag.
Yeah, there's a lot in that bag. That's another story, though, that we just can't go into.
I'm still hurt that Carmen held me back while you two had a daring pursuit without me.
To echo Carmen's statement, what were you planning on doing if they stopped to fight?
It would have been fine. I'd have hid behind Carmen.
The whole thing was really stupid, to be honest.
It was amazing.
We came so close to getting badly hurt, or worse.
Expel?
Haha, we get it. Eva's English.
It was more the way you said it.
I'll watch my cadence in the future. For obvious reasons, we can't talk too much about the finer points of the arrests.
Not now that they're criminal proceedings, anyways.
But what we can tell you is that 3 university students were arrested on Thursday due to suspicion of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, murder, and drug offences.
Other students who were caught on video attending the Brotherhood meeting are currently undergoing university tribunals, pending either suspension or expulsion.
Those who could be identified. Unfortunately, not everyone. They were smart enough in that respect.
And those who are being reprimanded are apparently being very tight-lipped with the names of other members.
Not to say that those identified will ever be properly punished. Most rich people never get what they deserve.
But at least they're not just getting away with it all.
Precisely.
But there's another fun thing we're actually allowed to talk about because most of the people involved are dead.
We don't normally say the word dead with that much enthusiasm, Finn.
Fine, Lady Killjoy, but remember our theory about an accomplice?
Harkening all the way back to the beginnings of the case.
Turns out that Schmidt's accomplice had been under our noses all along. Darcy Bennett, The TA turned professor with the resemblance to his victims and the intense 80s hair.
Which sounds like the fanfiction username of someone who exclusively writes for the Pride and Prejudice fandom.
Well, we actually put it all together after the come down.
The come down?
The afterglow?
The afterglow?
What do you call it? After the adrenaline wears off and someone ordered pizza.
I don't know, the aftermath? Definitely not whatever you were saying.
Whatever it was, Eve had like an entire slice of pizza hanging out of her mouth. She was lying on the floor and looking up at the murder board, and then she had an aha moment and fully sat up, hitting her head into the bottom shelf.
Not funny. Thought I chipped a tooth for a moment there.
I think if your tooth survived that one guy punching you in the face...
Finn, you know my mum's listening.
Right. The very unpunched face of Eve realized something. Darcy Bennett had no alibi for any of the abductions or murder.
Had a propensity for a certain very specific shade of lipstick.
Owned a handgun herself and won several high school shooting competitions.
Spent an incredible amount of time in Schmidt's office, even for a TA.
Had keys to the farm, even.
Ostensibly so she could drop off his marking.
Yeah, right.
The police are looking into it now, but it looks promising.
We always get our man. Woman.
Alleged.
Alleged. And then there's the stuff that we can really only allege about.
The cops are investigating his suicide. Just in case.
But we've been ordered not to interfere.
Not that we need to. We caught our accomplice, we followed a secret society. I think we're doing pretty well. Why ruin it?
And, as previously mentioned, Clive Harden is helping to clean up some of the older cases. So maybe that will jimmy something loose here, you know?
Jimmy something loose? Like loose change?
Loose murder.
Alleged loose murder.
Oh, the worst kind.
You know what I still don't get?
What?
I don't understand how a secret society bonded over, quote-unquote, protecting the school from spirits manages to sustain itself for so long.
Oh, come on, you can't tell me it doesn't sound a little thrilling. Even I, captain of the I Hate the Brotherhood club, have to give them that at least.
I guess? Like, for a night? But then, when there is no ghostly, spooky shit that ever happens, when you and your buddies are the ones actively perpetuating those ghost stories, why stick around? Like, wouldn't you get bored?
You seriously think in a school this old that there are no spirits wandering the halls? We used to be a seminary school.
You know I don't believe in any of that shit, Finn.
Okay, fine. But other people do. Especially if they are part of a secret society where everyone else does. When you're surrounded by believers, every creaky stare and tree scratching at a window could be misconstrued as a ghostly apparition. No?
Did you just suggest that ghosts aren't real?
I was merely pointing out the difference between those idiots who see ghosts in every corner and me. A spiritual connoisseur, if you will.
A connoisseur? How many ghosts have you actually seen?
Eve, put those fingers away, or I'll bite them.
How many?
One. Just one. But, it was enough.
Well, it still seems weird to me that the secret society lasted for so long.
I mean, maybe it's also that whole boys club prestige thing, too. People love exclusive stuff.
Exclusive secret society membership. Get it before it's gone.
Fire sale now on.
Jeez. What would this podcast even be without all this?
Have you forgotten how to do a podcast not about a secret society?
Feels kind of like it. Do you think we peaked too soon?
Nowhere to go from here but up, baby.
Don't call me baby.
Besides, we already know the Sycamore dorm stuff is going to be juicy with a capital J.
Oh, right. You actually read my notes?
You mean the color-coded dossier complete with page numbers and an index?
He's referring to the 3 pages I wrote with some sticky tabs. Even I'm not that bad.
Sure. Can't believe you think that ghosts killing students in their dorm rooms is going to be any less exciting than this.
Well, you know I don't believe in ghosts, and since it's not going to involve actual life or death stakes, of course it feels like it might be less exciting.
Ghosts are pretty life and death stakes.
I thought that would be vampires.
I will throw this bagel at you.
Okay, put the bagel down, and nobody has to get hurt. No, not on the letters, Finn, there is a plate right there.
Is there anything good?
In the letters? I've read some. Some are really sweet, like concerned people rooting for us. This one even has a gift card inside it wishing us a happy holidays. And this one is fan art.
Wow.
Sam sure is, long-fingered.
They gave him yowie hands. Holy shit, I have to send this to him.
He will kill you.
A legion of cultists
Secret Society members.
have tried and failed.
Seb is much more competent and, has access to you while you sleep.
True. Maybe I shouldn't. Nah, I'm gonna.
What did he say?
Run.
Classic.
How about that one?
Oh wow. Wax sealed.
Fancy.
Dearest babblers, you do not know what catastrophic events you have put into motion.
Threatening fan mail again? Geez, someone's mad they're getting suspended.
Should I keep reading or?
Well, we gotta finish now. I'm invested.
Right. As I was menacing, you think that by quote-unquote defeating the Brotherhood of Oak and Ash that you have somehow won.
Hey, don't put that in scare quotes. We defeated you guys fair and square.
That this is triumph you are feeling. I mean, according to Finn, it's afterglow, so...
Potato, potato.
But know that it is not. This is merely the calm before the storm. Without us there to shepherd the students of Englewood, they will be lambs to the slaughter.
Ah, yes. Kidnapping. The friendliest of all crimes.
The wolves are baying at the door after dark. Can you hear them?
Ah, you're still recording.
Yeah, just a little longer, Professor.
Come to my office when you're finished. I need you to sign some things for the continued use of the studio.
Will do, Professor. You really screamed there.
So did you.
Oh, whatever. Was there anything else in the letter?
No, it's just signed from the ashes.
Huh, cute.
Yeah, real cute. We're still gonna have to deal with these guys, aren't we?
Probably for a while, but they'll get bored eventually.
I hope so. Thinking the podcast might be lacking something without them is one thing, but for our personal and physical safety, I'd much rather they stay far, far away.
Same. I think I'm done with grudge matches against rich people. They're really mean.
But we are meaner.
We are. But that's about time for this episode, gang. We're gonna get a little R&R, and we'll be back again in the new year for some more mystery, intrigue, and suspense.
But hopefully, 100% less kidnapping.
We can only hope.
As always, thank you to Professor Hannessy for being so supportive.
So long,
Farewell.
and remember, never underestimate the underdog.
They were right. Why didn't we notice? Was it already too late for us back then? We'd already lost. I have to move. They'll find me if I stay in one place for too long. This might be the last episode for a while. It's coming for us all now. I'm so sorry, Finn. You just finished listening to Englewood After Dark, Episode 11. starring Dennis Ortman as Finn Nightingale, Hannah Brown as Eve Pemberly, Mars Dizon as Carmen Feran, CJ Macaulay as Seb Westwick, CobaltKobold as Clayton, Joel A.S. Butler as Brotherhood Member 1, and ShotPhoenix as Brotherhood Member 2. Written and sound designed by Hannah Brown, Dennis Ortman, and A. Rose. And that's all for Act 1 of Englewood After Dark. We'll be collaborating on some cool stuff over the winter break, so look out for that. And Act 2 will begin again on January the 7th. Until then, to get you excited, here's a little teaser.
So, let's get into the locked room murders.
4 gruesome deaths that all had something in common. They happened inside locked dormrooms.
And now that you've crippled the Brotherhood, good luck. You're going to need it.
It's coming! Run! Run!
The crane and the turtle slipped away. Who is behind you now?
Englewood After Dark Act 2 premieres on January the 7th. Find us at englewoodafterdark.com.